There are several aspects to look at to ensure a successful camel milk business, and they're probably all equally important. We're going to break them down into camel nutrition, the breeds and the breeding management, the right milking strategy, good hygiene, processing and pasteurization of the milk, marketing, value addition, looking at the economics, record keeping, and then ethics and welfare of the animals. This is our female herd. It's the females together with their calves, the weaners. We have about 120 animals in this herd. At 9 o'clock this morning they'd have been released. They've been grazing over behind this little hill behind me. This is an area particularly, you can look at this green scrub that we're looking at. So there's some very good nice green grass here. We had rain two or 3 days ago, which has brought out a flush of green. But you'll see the camels, although they've got their heads down, they're not actually eating grass, they're eating this rather spiky shrub, the one we use as a brush back at home as a broom. So they're very complementary feeders to the cattle. Leaving the grass for the cattle and the zebra. As you can see, there are plenty of zebra around as well. The camels actually don't really compete too much. They're browsers rather than grazers, and they will be eating the leaves off the trees. So this is the laleshwa shrub that she's eating. Very few animals will actually eat laleshwa, so it becomes quite a pest. And traditionally, the Maasai use the leaves as a deodorant. If you crunch it up, you can smell the leaves, and you then put it under your armpits, and you can walk around all day. And it's unusual to see animals eating this, and this is one of the advantages of keeping camels. They're choosing the plants which they themselves prefer. They pick shrubs which may have good medicinal value, and that's why a lot of people believe the milk is very healthy. Here we've got an African olive, which is a tree that they do eat. It's not one of their favourite plants, but it's one of the major plants here, and they feed up into the branches up at the top. This is the one called sinangoi, which has got thorns on it, short hooked thorns as well. I'm not sure of the scientific name, we'll look it up and find out what it is. Again, you can see that's been quite heavily grazed. It's sort of, the branches remain. A lot of the leaves have been nipped off. And here we have a cordia. Again, a very popular food with the camels here. So even though it looks like one bush, you've got probably 4 or 5 different species of plant here that they eat. Here we have a hibiscus. Again, very popular. Hibiscus is often considered as a weed, and you can see here the camels have just stripped it off. They will put the whole twig in their mouth and then bring their teeth up and take all the leaves off. So this again is a popular camel food. You can see it's a very thorny plant. It's actually got very long thorns, quite slender thorns, but very long thorns. But that doesn't really deter the camels. They can eat in between. Sometimes they'll even just munch up the thorns as well. And then down at the bottom here, we've got an acacia, again with very thorny plant. But again, popular food with camels. They can nibble, the lips are almost prehensile, and they can nibble off the vegetation, the leaves and the leaflets between the thorns. They leave it in a healthy condition, because they'll take a bite here, a bite there, they'll strip a couple of the branches here, move on to the next one. So there's very little long-term damage from the grazing. It's essential that they're getting at least 6 to 8 hours of grazing every day, coming back to the homestead until 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. In some societies, such as the Somalis, where there are not so many predators, the young men may even keep the animals out until 10 or 11 o'clock at night, particularly on moonlit nights, singing to the animals, but making sure they're getting enough food to eat.
Beside herding our camels outside there in the field. We also supplemented them with salt, with some mineral elements, just phosphorus, magnesium and others. And they can consume up to 50 kilos in one day.
Our camels have come to water after their salt this morning. This is a natural spring in the riverbed. This valley has lots of surface water in terms of spring water, which is clean and fresh. Camels can tolerate saline water, but also happy with fresh water. Adult camels in Kenya need between 25 and 35 kilograms of fresh vegetation each day. This is the equivalent of between 10 and 15 kilograms of dry matter intake per day. Now this may sound like quite a lot, but if you compare it in terms of intake per kilogram of live weight of sheep, goats and cattle, camels actually eat a lot less dry matter on a daily basis. If you don't have any access to rangelands and you have to completely supplement the diet for your camels, then you need to give them between 10 and 15 kilograms of hay per day and between 2 and 4 kilograms of either grains or supplementary concentrated food. They also need about 140 grams of salt per day. This will of course depend on the size of the camel. It'll depend on whether it's a working animal and perhaps being ridden every day or travelling long distances, or if it's lactating or producing milk, or if it's pregnant. Then the amounts you need to feed it will vary.